Yesterday, December 7th, 1941.
My grandfather went into the military when he was 17 years old.
He converted from a civilian into a full-fledged soldier.
And he had had a childhood in poverty. He didn't ever get to go beyond in his education, and then had the trauma of his military experience as well. And all of that impacted him. And what I really learned from my grandfather was that you can be so brilliant, you can be talented, you can be kind, and if you've been denied opportunities because of racism, it is so hard to overcome that. My name is Nora Dennis, and I'm the lead medical director for behavioral health and health equity at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina. When we talk about health equity, the first thing that I always want to reinforce is this principle or this value that everybody is equally deserving of the opportunity to enjoy good health, and that there are many things that come between us and good health. And many of those are things that are not controllable by the individual. It's very important for the VSS also to really understand systemic racism and the ways in which intersecting systems impact people's lives and their outcomes. Just get really curious about their whole story. And that includes understanding where they grew up, their origin story, what their childhood was like. That includes understanding their current resource availability, so transportation, housing, food, all of these things that come together to really drive their health outcomes and their current state of health. I can look at the justice system, the incarceration rates for Black men, and see how that tracks to family poverty and to outcomes and experiences for children. I can take the housing system and our long history of residential segregation, particularly in the South, and the way that that impacts the ability of a family to generate and pass on intergenerational wealth. ACEs are adverse childhood experiences, like having your utilities turned off, parental loss, having a parent incarcerated, having a parent who struggles to care for you because of mental illness or because of substance use disorder. All of these things create an ACEs score, and we know are correlated then with actual health impacts in adulthood, including increased risk of death by suicide. And because of systemic racism and discrimination, individuals from Black and Hispanic communities often have higher ACEs scores. All of these systemic factors, when taken together, profoundly impact the individual who sits before you. Another point that I think is really important is our minds sort of instantaneously and often unconsciously jump to all kinds of conclusions about people.
She's not productive. He's afraid. He's confused. Doesn't care.
And we call that process implicit bias because it's the brain doing what brains do, which is to make connections. And the downside comes when those connections are not right, and then they change the way that we treat other people, again, totally unintentionally in many cases. What's so important is to make the unconscious conscious, to make sure that you're really getting a full picture of the individual who's coming for support, and also getting a full picture of their story that brought them up to this moment. But if an individual really doesn't want to talk about their childhood, do not push them to do that. When people are guarded is for good reason. It's based on experiences that they've had. the feeling of vulnerability that comes with being completely open. And so it might take longer to make that connection. And when you think about like, what is it that allows someone to feel safe? Consistency allows people to feel safe. Empathy allows people to feel safe. Curiosity and non-judgment. And I think for veterans, when they have been really down on their luck, when things have been really difficult, when they've struggled with mental health or problems or with substance use, those are the moments when non-judgment, empathy, and openness are the very most needed. One of the biggest principles for really driving forward true equity is cultural humility. So just that humbleness. I don't know what it's like for you. Let me learn, teach me, so that I can support you.